All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Stitched Up. This is episode number 3. We promise you guys this one's not going to be as long as the 2.5 hour long episode 2, but we appreciate every single one that watched every second of that video. There was a few of you guys, so thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it a lot. And I mean, none of these episodes plan on being that long. You know, we have a kind of a set little itinerary that we want to talk about, and then me and Fuzzy just end up, going at it because we love talking about this stuff. We love sharing our thoughts with you guys. And I mean, that's just natural for me and him to just talk about this stuff. But we do have a little bit of a shorter schedule today, so it will be a little less long, and hopefully you guys still enjoy it.
Yeah. Today is going to be one of those we're reacting off the cuff because what we're going to talk about pretty much happened in the last 10 to 15 minutes. We're going to talk about my Guardians out of nowhere stealing the first overall pick in the lottery. Like the baseball gods are rewarding the Guardians for being mid. So we're going to talk about that. We also have Dave Roberts opening up his fat mouth, and that's got to be music to Kyle's ears considering he's a Giants fan. And also, not only are we going to talk about Shohei and his free agent future, but also all of the other free agents. We're going to go through them pretty quick. So Kyle, are you ready to talk? I mean, to me, I feel like this is going to be our best one because there are so many things that are just live and we have to react to them as quickly as possible. So to me, the Guardians thing, I'm wearing an A's hat because it's almost like I'm saluting all of the A's fans that had the worst season ever. And now they have to watch me, a fan of a team that's actually run decently well, and we got rewarded for being mid.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to me. I love the lottery system, right? Because teams can tank as much as they want, but it's not going to reward them as much as they think they are, right? Like, I can't remember who it was in the Zion draft, but there was a team that was blatantly tanking to try to get Zion. And then because of the lottery system, it ends up being the Pelicans, a team that wasn't even that bad. They end up getting Zion, and stuff like that. You don't reward these teams for being horrible. No, you should never be rewarded for being awful at anything you do in life, right?
Right.
So I've always thought in professional, out of everything, why at the professional level of sports was there ever a reward for being bad? That should be the last place there's a reward for, right? You have a set standard and expectation for professionals to play well. So I'm a Bay Area resident, man. The A's have been embarrassing us for a while now. Mm-hmm. I mean, we hate the owner. Whether you're a Giants fan or whether you're an A's fan, you're not going to have respect for the owner. And I love to see them get punished like this. And I mean, what did they end up with? The third or fourth pick?
The Giants or?
No, the A's.
The A's have the 4th pick. So they're still top 5. They have a chance if they want to get Jack Coglione, whatever his name is, like the next Shohei, whatever I don't remember his name, the guy from Florida. But you guys got the 13th pick, the Giants. I mean, I see what you're saying about not wanting to reward bad teams, but also I feel like good teams should be rewarded, and I'm seeing the Yankees at 25 or the Rays at 18. Like, I guess my thing is the structure in place right now, I 100% agree with you. Bad teams should not get rewarded, but what about good teams not being rewarded either? What do you think about that? Like the Reds getting the number 2 pick, I think is awesome because they tried and they bettered themselves in 2023. Like they went for it. They've given out extensions, and them getting the number 2 pick, that's cool. But the A's, yeah, you deserve to be in kind of perpetual sadness considering how bad you tanked.
Yeah. I'll say right now that when it comes to the reward of being good, your reward is simply you're more likely to get the free agents that you want. You're more likely, I feel like the reward lies in being good, right?
Yeah.
Playoff baseball, that's a reward. All the fans are rewarded by that. I do think there's a sweet, kind of like a sweet middle ground between having good teams be, what's the best way for me to say it? Like, let's just say you automatically made it where the A's got punished for being bad, right? Mm-hmm. There would be no competitive balance in the league anymore. The good teams would continue to be very good. The bad teams would continue to be very bad. Right, because the A's, right, without the draft picks, without the money, if they're just continuing to get in last place, how could they ever improve if they're getting the 30th pick, stuff like that, right? So I do agree that the bottom tier teams should have a better chance at getting high draft picks, but the lottery system makes it perfect where you aren't getting rewarded, I'm going to make sure we lose more than this team so we get a higher pick than them. You can still kind of give them a chance to play and try to entertain their fans a little bit while also hoping, okay, if we aren't as good and we finish lower, hopefully we have a chance to be that number 1 spot. You don't want to play specifically for it. Like the Guardians, right? That's a perfect scenario. They were trying to make playoffs. There was no part of me that felt the Guardians are tanking, right?
Yeah, but my
You know
thing
what?
is, as a Guardians fan through and through, I'm almost upset that we got the first overall pick because I feel like they just got rewarded for being mid and never spending money. Like we had to trade Cal Quantrill because a TV deal went bad. If you can't
Jeez.
afford players because you don't have TV money, like I get it. There's a lot of money that comes in from the TV side, but the Guardians, they were handed, I don't know if you remember the waiver wire when the Angels let go of Lucas Giolito, Matt Moore, and Renato Lopez. The only reason why the Guardians got that is because the waiver wire, it rewards bad teams. If you're further down the standings, you get the first grabs at the waivers. And now, so they get all of the best players on the waivers. They got all three of the best ones. And now they get the first overall pick, even though they admitted last week they're not spending more money. Their payroll's not increasing. I can't remember the last time we traded for someone cool or fun. We trade away everyone. So I'm annoyed that the baseball gods are rewarding them, but that's just how the system works.
I get what you're
why
saying.
it has to be in place to where bad teams have a better chance, good teams don't have the best chance. It's crazy that we're even talking about this. I didn't even know the draft thing was going on, and then everyone's spamming, Guardians got the first pick. I'm like, what are you talking about? We actually had a chance of doing that, so maybe...
Yeah, and can we discuss that real quick, too? Like, you'll never not know when the NBA draft and the NFL draft is going on.
Yeah, what the heck?
Dude, I had no idea. I thought it was like a troll post or something, man.
I thought it was the Rule 5 draft.
Yeah, see that's
what I was thinking. Like winter meetings, Rule 5 draft. I thought there's no way they're doing the actual MLB lottery draft that's going to be taking place at the All-Star break. But I mean, we've seen what MLB's done with the creator class and not inviting foolish baseball to winter meetings.
Dude.
Like we have our own problems. I love MLB. I don't want to bite the hand that feeds me, but there's some things I wish that they would. I would go on my own dime, Kyle, fly to New York, get in the same office as some of these people. Like, I want to be polite and professional, but I have some big qualms. And the fact that we're big baseball fans. We didn't know that the draft was going on. That's a problem.
That's a problem. No, it's a huge problem, yeah. And, I mean, I'm just going to be the one to kind of be a little bit too straightforward here, maybe. Did you know one person that was announced in that MLB class?
I knew a few of them simply because I've seen their cooking videos. Like I've bookmarked some of them. Like I'm going to make this steak later on. But for reference, for people who don't know what we're talking about, MLB came out with a creator class back in April. And because Foolish wasn't invited, his kind of case got declined for winter meetings. I went back and I found that video from April talking about how MLB invited a bunch of non-baseball creators to, World Series and MLB Network, but Foolish Baseball can't go to the winter meetings. I thought that was a little bit weird. So I fully agree with there needs to be some structural change at MLB, and I don't care if they don't use me. I just want change.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just about seeing improvement, right? Like, you have... I don't know if their whole logic about that is, like, expanding it to other categories in hopes to grow
on
MLB.
Paper, yeah, that's exactly.
But
what
in
it was.
reality, it's like, okay, you could do that, but you could also lose fans, too, right?
Yeah,
you have a bunch of people.
It's
but that's what I'm saying. It's just like you can gain people, but you could lose people as well. Like you got Bailey, who's just Foolish Baseball, he is a guy that has a huge platform and is very good at what he does, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he is all baseball. And, I just think it's kind of crazy how a guy like that doesn't have access to something like this. But people that are, I don't want to hate on anybody else's hustle, right? But
I don't think that you're doing that at all. It's just the objective truth that specific... I really could have gone with other creator classes that had more baseball people in it. It was just the timing. That was the latest one. I don't know if there's going to be another creator class, and it just so happens that Bailey got rejected. I love Foolish Baseball. I would go to bat for him every single chance that I get. So I did that, and I hope that they're not mad at me for that. And I'll probably roll that clip as we're talking about this. And again, no disrespect to any of the people. I want people to take advantage of every opportunity. And like NFL spamming Taylor Swift, it makes sense because she's dating a football player. It's not just spamming Taylor Swift and trying to grab her audience. It's pertinent. It's relevant. It makes sense. They put together a collective of non-baseball people to try and steal their audience, but that's not how TikTok works. People have a short attention span. I can't imagine what the conversion rate is from TikTok to other platforms, so it just didn't make sense. I get what they were going for, but what are we doing, man? What are we doing?
Is that what it is? Are those people mostly TikTok people?
Yeah, for the most part, they were all TikTok.
Okay.
Like, it's the TikTok creator class, so they're only from TikTok, really.
Yeah. I would have to assume that the conversion rate from TikTok to any long-term like long form content has to be just so horrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, unless it's like one of those clickbaity things where it's like, oh, there was a fight on TikTok. Here's the full live stream, and then they go and they watch that just to watch like the drama stuff. But when it comes to like informational things or just basic, anything, not a lot of people, they don't have that attention span. It's like, no, I got my 15 seconds. Let's move on to the next one. So, but I mean, regardless of all of that, when it comes down to the Guardians and stuff, I would rather have a team like that get rewarded because they were trying to win games, right? They were trying to win games. They weren't good enough to win as many games, so they were eligible for that. I would rather have a team like that get rewarded than the A's, man. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I that's truly how I feel.
I 100% get exactly where you're coming from. I just have the perspective of I've seen Lindor go and all of these players just walk, and then we don't spend money after signing J-Ram, and it just really annoys me. So when they get rewarded, it bothers me because they're not doing anything to make J-Ram feel better about taking millions and millions of dollars less. So when they get rewarded, it's kind of just like, great, they're going to keep doing the same stupid stuff over and over because they think singles and stolen bases and Gold Glove defense wins the World Series. It doesn't. Pitching and home runs wins World Series. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, and that's how I felt about the Giants winning 107 games a couple years ago.
That was crazy.
It was like, bro, this is the worst thing to happen to us. Because we knew we weren't going to win a World Series with that team, right? Mm-hmm. But now the front office is convinced, oh, we got a core. We're good to go. We don't need to do anything. And it's like, you didn't do anything in the first place. You got lucky to have career years out of Crawford and out of all these guys. And then what happens? They stick with the same core. They don't spend money. The next year, they have the worst seasons they've ever had. All of a sudden, we're the bad Giants again. So that's my thing, where I get what you're saying, because it's like you want them to learn and do it the right way. You want them to kind of be punished so they don't make this mistake again. And luckily, the Giants had 2 horrible years, so it's like, okay, cool. Now you know. Now you know we got to spend money. That's why with all of these, I guarantee you, when we go over these free agents, so many of them fit what the Giants need. Because we have now reached a point where the money's off the books. We could get anybody. Right? If they want to come. We can't force people to come, but we can afford anybody. So that's kind of the situation we're in now. Now it's like, okay, we finally got to the spot where we're at. We have free agents. We have the money. Let's make something happen now. But, with the Guardians, it's like, if you guys getting lucky with this number 1 pick, it could end up being somewhat of a curse, right? It's like, oh, okay, we don't need to spend money. We could rebuild this way, or however it may be. I get your point from that. From that perspective.
Yeah, just to put a bow on this, because the Dave Roberts thing, it's so funny. And because you're a Giants fan, I want to get your opinion on it. But I like that the Rays and the Guardians have built winning organizations simply based off almost scouting. Like, they find players out of nowhere and they can build super cheap God squads and make something of themselves and go on playoff runs and almost go and win a World Series or have the best team or the best record in the American League. I just wish that they could combine the scouting plus money, and I don't think that you should be rewarded for never spending money. I just think that you're cheaping out and you're not giving the fans the full experience. And then when you get the first overall pick after not spending money, it's really bothersome. But anyways, because we just talked about the Giants and their whole World Series run, the Giants right now, I think their problem is they lack a face of the franchise. You guys tried to get Correa. You guys had in writing Correa coming. Arson Judge, that whole saga happened. And now you might have a better chance at signing Ohtani because Dave Roberts opened his fat mouth. Now, I give him some props because he refuses to lie. Like, lying is too beneath him. He wants to be a moral guy. He just messed up so bad. Ohtani has one rule. Do not leak that I met up with you. Dave Roberts just flat out said, yeah, we had a meeting with Shohei Ohtani, and now everyone's kind of crumbling, saying that if Ohtani doesn't go to the Dodgers, he's just being a diva and he shouldn't be that petty. But my thing is, he had one rule, and the video that you guys are about to see right now.
It's a good possibility. I think that, we met with him. I don't want to. I'd like to be honest, and so we met with Shohei.
It clearly shows that David Roberts actively went against his conscience. He paused for 4 seconds, thought about it, and said, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it right now because lying is beneath me. You could have simply said no comment. So Kyle, do you think because of these comments, do you think that Shohei will actually not go to the Dodgers and maybe prioritize a team that has been radio silent like the Dodgers or the Giants? I haven't heard anything from the Giants, which is a good thing.
Yeah. So I would be shocked if Shohei truly wanted to go to the Dodgers and truly didn't want to leave LA, his doctors are there. Everything is there for him, right? Everything's set up, and it's not a huge change, and obviously it would be a team that would be a winning ball club. I truly would be shocked if this little slip up that Dave Roberts had is what, just puts a whole wrench in everything. I would be shocked. I think that I do know that he requested privacy.
Yeah.
I am praying that is the reason why we're not hearing any peeps out of the Giants side, because from how we were a favorite to land him a few months ago, all of these things that are surrounding us with how much money we have, why we cleared the books, it's clear we were going to prioritize him. To not hear one word about us, I mean, it's crazy to hear about the Blue Jays, to hear about the Braves, all these teams where none of us even thought about those two, right? Like, I remember in the when the year was kind of ending, it was like, okay, it's going to be the Dodgers, it's going to be the Giants, it's going to be the Cubs, the Mariners, and the Red Sox. That's genuinely who I thought about, right? And I thought about the Mets a little bit too.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about the Blue Jays or the Braves.
No.
And
they have so many players on the books already, and they're already good,
Yeah.
so why would they go out and spend? But then you think about Bo Bichette, and there's other players that they could trade. So at this point, anyone is in play for Ohtani. It's just, are they seeing through is Ohtani really that serious about things not leaking? And clearly, the Dodgers think that they have it in the bag. So I'm almost, as a Giants fan, were you actually worried about Ohtani going? Because Ohtani's not only just your favorite player, but the Giants have cleared everything, almost like given up on the last season and a half for Ohtani. And if it crumbles and this Dave Roberts thing doesn't actually cause Ohtani to leave, like, did you expect this? It's like, oh, okay, he was going to go there no matter what.
Yeah, I've kind of reached that point. So the Aaron Judge one, to me, and I know everybody likes to joke about the arson judge and everything about Aaron Judge. I will be honest with you, that one hurt worse than any of the other ones prior.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think it was a mixture of him being announced at, obviously, the arson judge thing. That was just the worst thing ever, man. It really was the worst thing ever, because we genuinely thought we had him. I yelled in my car. I remember exactly where I was. I was outside of a Philly cheesesteak shop, and I was just like, I was with my buddy. He was in the passenger seat. And yeah, we were outside of a cheesesteak shop, and I screamed yes. I tweeted instantly in all caps, laughing. Like,
I remember this.
It was the perfect, like, pictures before disasters type thing, right? Because, dude, it was like John Heyman tweets it's got to be good, right? Like, it just has to be. And that was, I remember, even after that situation, though, still believing he was going to go to the Giants, of course. And I remember I woke up in the middle of the night. I mean, it was like, or I got a text from somebody who lived in New York, and it was about 6 a.m. And it was like, ha, 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 I told you.
Oh, no.
Right? So it was 6 a.m. for them. So it's like 3 in the morning for me. So I wake up and I'm like, huh?
Oh, no.
And I look, and I'm not even joking, my heart just dropped. It was almost like, it's going to sound dramatic, but it's like, when you find out somebody that, like a celebrity passed that you like grew up watching, you're just like, oh, fuck. Like, wow, that really happened? Like, oh, damn. That's how it felt, where my heart literally dropped. And I was just like, oh, it didn't happen. It was such a weird feeling. That's not going to happen with Shohei for me.
No. But
Go ahead.
the thing is, I can't remember, did Judge happen after Correa, or did Correa?
Nope.
I can't remember.
No, the Correa thing definitely happened after, because that's when it was just like, okay, everything sucks. Everything sucks. And the Correa thing, it was just how you said earlier, right? We're lacking a face. We're lacking a captain. It's not about Correa. It's not about Judge. It's about having somebody. Anybody. It could have been Bryce Harper a couple years ago.
Man,
it could have,
that would have been cool.
Dude, it's just, there's nobody. And we haven't had that person in so long. I mean, realistically, Buster Posey, right? That was our last face, where we had a guy who could win MVP. We had a guy who could, that feeling that every team has. You have Jose Ramirez, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go down every list of every team, and what would you? I would say probably 90% of teams have that guy.
Oh, for
Wouldn't
sure.
you say?
Even the Rockies,
And
like the Rockies have a Chris Bryant. The A's have the A's kind of not. That's a terrible
the
example.
A's trade all their guys as soon as they become that.
Right. The
right?
Marlins have Jazz. Everyone has that star player that you kind of look to as that's going to be the guy going forward.
And they have Sandy. Yeah, like you have the A's, ironically, they don't have anybody right now, but think about how many guys they did have.
Yeah.
That, they had more guys than everybody else. They had Sean Murphy, Matt Olson, Josh Donaldson, Yoenis Cespedes, all of these guys that they disappear and then they go off somewhere else. Right? It's just like
That's why I'm
the
wearing
A's
the A's
deserve
hat
to be
today.
punished.
Yeah, because the A's fan base has gotten screwed. I almost feel bad complaining as a Guardians fan. Like, oh, my team got rewarded for being mid. I mean, just like the A's, they lost their entire team.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyways, talking about a face of the franchise. So clearly the Ohtani thing is going to be big news all season long. We don't know if he's going to take it that serious about, okay, Dave Roberts, he spilled the beans. I'm not going to go there. But speaking of faces of the franchise, I would say that the biggest fish after Ohtani is probably Snell or Cody Bellinger. And to me, Cody Bellinger in a Giants uniform, it doesn't make sense. It's like when Brian Wilson went from the Giants to the Dodgers. I almost think that Cody Bellinger can't get himself to do that. But considering his star power, I think if you don't get Ohtani, Bellinger makes a lot of sense because Elliot Ramos, he hasn't panned out. I don't know if you like the future of Yastrzemski. Like, what do you think about Cody Bellinger possibly going and being the face of the Giants?
So should we start our little predictions right now?
Yeah, let's just do it right now.
If we don't get Shohei, I'd be willing to bet money that we do get Bellinger.
Okay.
He just makes sense. He's the type of guy that we would go after, right? And we have the money. And I do think I kind of disagree with what you're saying, where I don't think the Dodgers thing would affect him at all.
Okay.
I do think that he would happily, similar to a Jock situation, right?
Right.
Like Jock was kind of that.
Oh yeah,
Dodger,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly. So I would. That's who I think. That's I don't think we get Shohei Ohtani.
Okay.
Right. So I genuinely think that we do get Blake Snell.
Okay.
And then I'll kind of go over who I think we have chances at as we go along the other free agents. But I do think we make a couple big signings. They're just not going to be big enough, right? We need, as Giants fans, with how everything has gone, we simply need a Shohei Ohtani.
Okay.
We just need it. We need it so bad, but we're not going to get it, unfortunately. And the Dave Roberts thing, I'm praying that he opened his mouth about that. I got a weird vibe when he said it went well, right? The way he said, I think it went well. It almost, and then he went on to say, he's his own man, he's going to make his decision, right? It almost came off to me, and maybe I'm just biased or something, but it came off to me as if there was something that happened during that didn't make him feel like it went
almost
well.
like when you buy
On
a new
Shohei's
shirt.
side.
Like when you buy a new shirt and you hang out with your friend, you're like, well, I like this shirt.
Yeah, exactly. When your friend's kind of like, I didn't really care for that shirt, It's
well, I like it.
Yeah, he's justifying it to himself. It went well. At the end of the day, he's his own man. It wasn't like, man, I couldn't have asked for anything better. Or I think if it went as well as he said, he wouldn't have mentioned anything. Right?
I agree.
So I'm hoping maybe it was a thing where, and this is naive, there's no way that they left that meeting saying there's no way we get Shohei. But it's almost crazy that he would comment on it knowing it's so easy to just not comment on it. You don't have to lie.
That's what I'm saying. Because his big thing was, I can't lie, and I respect him for that. He actually seems like a genuine human who wants to do the right thing, but you don't have to lie. You can say no comment because of the player's wish for privacy. That's it, and then you move on. I don't understand why he had to just say, I'm above lying. Just don't even comment on it.
Yeah, I mean, as a Giants fan, if Bob Melvin had come out and said that, I would just be like, damn it, what are you doing?
Yeah, right.
Because regardless, no matter how good of a chance you have to sign him, that couldn't help. If that's not going to help you get him. If he asked for one thing and you went against it, and maybe we are overlooking this, and it's easy to overlook it because until Shohei gets signed, the offseason is going to continue to be this dead, right?
Yeah, okay, so maybe you can actually fill me in because I know you, so a lot of people are saying like Americans don't understand other cultures and blah blah blah. That's why they're defending Dave Roberts. But like a lot of people were saying that Yamamoto is not going to go to Boston because Yoshida's there, or Ohtani and Yamamoto are going to see where the dominoes fall, because in the Japanese culture, it's kind of standard that there's only like one big dog per team. Like you have to be the leader and you're not going to want to try and compete. So a lot of people are saying that the reason why people are justifying Dave Roberts is because they're just not understanding the culture that Ohtani comes from. They respect privacy. They have a better kind of grip on respect. Does that make any sense in the world? Or am I just spewing stuff?
So Japan is huge on respect, right? Like, so I'm the only member of my family that hasn't been to Japan, but because I just have that fear of flying and everything. And at the time when they went, I was working nonstop. But my whole family went to Japan, right? When you go there, and you'll hear stories about this.
Kyle's Japanese, by the way. That's
I'm half Japanese. My family that went full Japanese. I'm the only half Japanese person in my Japanese side of the family. They're all full. But they went to Japan, and basically in Japan, you can walk 10 miles and not find one piece of litter. Everything there is all about respect, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm saying this to you guys, and then I'm going to now say I don't think that has anything to do with the Dave Roberts thing. Okay. The Dave Roberts thing, it doesn't matter what culture you're from. You're going after a free agent. That free agent has a preference and a boundary. Some people are private. Some people aren't. Whether it's about culture, whether it's about wherever they're from, you got to respect it, right? Mm-hmm. If it's Ronald Acuna and he doesn't want his meetings coming out, you got to respect it if you want to sign them. Maybe you can still sign him if you don't respect it, but it's like, why not just try to make that happen, right? For the Yamamoto one, I thought that he came out and said he wanted to be with another
That
Japanese
was in response
player.
Of people saying that the Japanese culture is like, you can't have two superstars on one team, and that apparently the WBC kind of changed that perspective.
Yeah, because, man,
that's what I heard. I don't know if that's fact or not. I'm almost just like, what's your opinion on that?
Well, because for Shohei, he came into the MLB and signed with a team with one of the best players who's ever lived, right? You can't match with a bigger star than Mike Trout. Mm-hmm. So even though Mike Trout's not Japanese, it's kind of contradicting with all of these super teams that are out right now, the Braves, all these teams. You got to be able to adjust and understand, okay, it's impossible.
Like they would limit themselves to the A's and the Marlins of the world.
That's where he would have to go to the A's. That's it. That's the only place you could really go. Anywhere else there's an argument that there's kind of a star. Except the Giants. Come on over, Shohei.
It's so crazy because, Willie Mays, we're talking about Buster Posey, like some massive faces, and there just is no star in San Francisco right now.
Barry Bonds.
How could I forget Barry Bonds? What am I talking about? So quick prediction before we talk about all the other free agents, because there are quite a few of them. So we'll kind of like group them together in terms of like starting pitchers. But where do you think, because in my opinion, now that Nola went back to the Phillies, Sonny Gray left the Twins. We'll talk about the Twins in a different episode, like when we talk about 2024 the season, because what is going on with the Twins? So Sonny Gray is on the Cardinals. Kenta Maeda went to the Tigers. Lance Lynn, Cardinals. Kyle Gibson, Cardinals. So the biggest fish is left, obviously, Shohei, Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, Erod. I don't know if Julio Urias is ever going to be allowed to step foot on a diamond ever again. Stroman,
Hopefully
Chapman,
not.
Bellinger. Yeah, I know. So the two biggest names, in my opinion, not named Blake Snell, Shohei Ohtani, and Cody Bellinger. Where do you think that they go? And I'm going to throw this at you. In terms of center field production, the Giants were the third worst team in baseball last year. And that includes Luis Matos, who I kind of like, and Mike Yastrzemski. So Ohtani, do you think you guys have a chance, like legitimately, or Bellinger? Do you think that he would kind of cross that line? I know you don't think it's a big deal, but considering the lack of success that you guys had last year, other teams that didn't have great center field depth, the Rockies, even though I like Brenton Doyle, Cleveland sucked with Miles Straw. Do you think that any other team like the Yankees can swoop in? Because they were pretty bad with center field depth. Like, where do you stand on them?
I truly think with Bellinger, it's going to either be the Yankees or the Giants. I would lean Giants only because I'm leaning that the Giants don't get Shohei. Now, it would be naive for me to say there's no chance for us to get them because I do think that when all this is done and all the truth really comes out, the teams that were quiet and private about the meetings and everything, I do think the Giants will finish as a top 3 team that was supposed to fit him. Now, that was close to getting him. Now, my thing about the Shohei thing is he's come out and said, unless the reports that I saw were fake, he's come out and said he doesn't care for hitting at Oracle Park. That's, you know what I mean? And when that's something that you really can't change. If that's your perception, that's how you feel, how do you convince a man off of that? You know, it's like, yep, that's our field. That's where you're going to be playing. But it's kind of strange for Shohei because it's like you're going to be pitching there eventually too.
Right.
So it will help you pitching wise. So I guess it comes down to the personal preference of what stats do you value most as a player. Do you want your hitting stats to be amplified? Do you want your pitching stats to be amplified? No matter what, wherever he goes, he's getting an insane amount of money, and there's a chance that he retires there, right? So it's one thing if you want to boost your stats up to get that eventual payday. This is that payday. So I don't know how much he's gonna look into the hitting at Oracle thing. If I was Shohei, I would look at San Francisco and say they're not going to be winning anytime soon. And if he truly cares about winning, that's what would keep me away. I try to put myself in his shoes, and there's just no way I'm going to San Francisco. I would do nasty things to get him here, but dude, I'm realistic, right? I don't see it happening. But okay. I do think we get Cody Bellinger. I do think he'll be a great player for us, a huge help. Like you said, at a lackluster outfield, he'll help. His fielding's awesome. He's found his swing again. I would love to have him, and I do think it'll be a thing where it's, we're happy to at least get him, but we're going to need more. But I do think Cody goes here, and I think that unless you want to save our Shohei predictions for last.
No, we could do it right now.
He's going to be a Dodger, dude.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he's going to be a Dodger.
I think that the Yankees could possibly throw a Hail Mary if they don't get Yamamoto or Soto. I think that my prediction is that the Yankees will end up with both Soto and Yamamoto, so they won't have money or like disposable income for a Ohtani or a Bellinger. So for me, I'd probably go Shohei to the Dodgers. I think that Juan Soto and Yamamoto are going to end up in New York. And because they have money and they need a face of the franchise type player, Cody Bellinger fits that mold. It's just, is he going to be the fixed version of Cody Bellinger? So those are my predictions, just the top dogs.
I agree that Yamamoto is going to be in New York.
Yeah.
But not with the Yankees.
Oh, you think he's going to the Mets?
Yeah, I do.
That's the thing, though. That's exactly the example I was thinking about a couple minutes ago. Having Kodai and Yamamoto in the same rotation could be a problem, according to the report, like the articles I read about culture and all that different stuff. But maybe I'm wrong.
I think it would be a perfect fit.
I think so too.
They're chilling together. They got that New York pressure. They help each other deal with. I could not see that being an issue. Especially with how I think he goes to the Mets, but I wouldn't be shocked to see him go to the Yankees.
You know what? I hope a team that would be in play for Yamamoto just to say, like, hey, we tried our best, the Orioles. Because the Orioles, we know that their offense is going to be... And also, I just want to let you guys know, we're not going to talk about every single team in baseball because we have to be realistic. Like, I'm sorry that the Guardians don't have a chance of signing Yamamoto, so I'm not going to talk about them as much. But a team like the Orioles, who are in playoff contention, they have money to spend. The Giants, even though they weren't in playoff contention, they're a good team on paper, and they can get better by spending money, so they are going to spend money. Like, what's the GM's name? What's his name?
Farhan Zaidi.
That guy is a madman. Like, he reminds me a lot of AJ Preller. He will break the bank. He will do some nasty things to make his team better. So just because we don't talk about your team, don't think that we're missing out on them. But the Orioles are going to be a sneaky team because they don't spend money, but they're right on the cusp. So maybe they go for a Bellinger. I don't know. But I think the Giants makes a lot of sense for them. Yeah. Or Blake Snell. What about Blake Snell?
I do have a... I would love to have Blake Snell, obviously. Like, that's a homie. That's a guy that I play video games with and stuff. That's a guy that I'm going to, hopefully he gets on here soon. I'm going to try to get him on this podcast. I think you guys would love that. We got a lot of fun stuff planned for you guys. Know that. But, I'm not going to talk about his stuff because I don't want to, get anything out. But obviously, 2-time Cy Young, would love to have him in San Francisco. I just know that I've talked to multiple guys that are free agents this year, and it just seems like right now until the Japanese guys are signed, it's just going to be slow.
And
that's some insight that I have right now is it's just slow right now. Teams are prioritizing Shohei and Yamamoto, and until then, things will probably heat up really fast once they're signed, but that's just what's slowing everything down. Everybody talking about the slow offseason, and it's like, could you imagine how this offseason would be if there was no Shohei or no Yamamoto? Dude,
I can't even imagine.
It'd be painful. But
a lot of people, kind of a side note, a lot of people are, that's also, by the way, that's really cool that you have like insights. Like we do want to use our insights for you guys, but we're not going to, whistle blow or anything like that. But
yeah, exactly.
Real quick side note, what do you make of the argument that Robert Manfred should implement a signing deadline or a trade deadline for the offseason? What do you think of that? So essentially, like Ohtani, you have until Christmas to sign. But if they ever did that, I would hope that they would split up like signings and trades, so we have two things to look forward to. But also, I hate the idea of forcing players to, rush to a life-altering decision. I don't know if you can necessarily do that. I understand the sentiment, but that's tough in practice.
Yeah, I think of it both ways because let's think about this for like like in this example, we have the Japanese players, and that's basically what we're talking about, right? They're kind of holding it up right now. So I think of it two ways. There's on their side, right? This is the biggest decision they'll ever make in their life, right? I mean, you have the decision on which woman you're going to marry. Maybe that's the biggest. And then where you're going to play and
your career,
your generational wealth and what you're going to do. Like, humongous decision. You really can't rush that.
No.
But it does seem like there's been so many situations of free agents in the past in all sports. It's so obvious they knew where they wanted to go all along. And they still held out and let this all be a huge thing. And it affects other players' careers in a way as well, right? They're all sitting around waiting. They can't make the arrangements that they need to do if they are moving somewhere. There's so many things that need to happen, and it's like, man, the fact that two guys can hold up an entire free agent class, it is unfortunate, but how do you really set a timer on something like this?
Well,
I mean, I think you could.
Yeah, you could if you wanted to. It's just like, do you remember the best example I can give of how long it took for two guys to make a decision because they were waiting on each other back in 19? Dude, I think Harper and Machado signed in February. Like damn near right before spring training started.
I remember that. That's what's kind of given. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good. It's just like because they were similar players in terms of like WAR and offensive prowess and like the face that like what they bring to the table in terms of bringing fans in. So they were waiting for each other to kind of bow out and almost take the lesser money so the other one could get more. And maybe Yamamoto and Ohtani are doing the same thing. But that doesn't make sense because Ohtani is a unicorn. He might get $500, borderline $600 million based off incentive. So I don't get the holdup. I really don't.
Yeah, and maybe the holdup is simply I'm thinking with Shohei, maybe he truly doesn't know where he wants to go yet because there is a lot of things at hand. Like maybe there's part of him that would want to go to somewhere like San Francisco, but he hates the ballpark. Maybe he wants to go to the Dodgers, but the Dave Roberts thing comes out. Maybe he wants to go. I could see the decision being a little bit harder for him because it is, man, I say that, but then it's like, why wouldn't you want to go to the Dodgers if you're Shohei? Like you have been held out from the playoffs because you're with the Angels who just cannot get anything going ever for some reason. It's a shame that Shohei still has not reached the playoffs, but you go to the Dodgers, you're seeing playoffs. It's automatic, and you're around such a core team. You don't have to move any of your stuff. You are in LA still.
Same medical staff, same people around you.
It's just so easy. I that's what keeps me from predicting him to go to any other team because it's like all the signs point to him being there. Imagine if you were buying a house and you were buying a house that was next door to where you lived, right? Obviously, you'd like that's not that good of an example because you don't want to be just. Maybe you do. Maybe you like your neighborhood. But the moving process, you have the same friends. You're still around your family, everything. That's the goal, right?
Well,
the least amount of change as possible.
Yeah, I'm a creature of habit.
Yeah.
Like, it's debilitating sometimes how much I don't want to change things. So I understand, like, let's say he goes to the Dodgers because it's familiar, or heck, even if he goes back to the Angels, people are going to call him a loser, but he seems like he's so meticulous about his craft and his process that, dude, we don't know anything about Shohei Ohtani other than his friend and translator is Ipe, and that, what else do you know about Ohtani? Does he go on long walks? Does he have a girlfriend? What is he like in life? We have no idea.
Yeah.
So it seems like Anaheim seemed like they were the one team that was willing to give him complete and utter anonymity, and they had no problem with it. Whereas, like, if you look at NFL, remember what Mac Jones did? He went outside to get some help about how he should be a quarterback, and the Patriots were pissed. They were so mad at him. But Ohtani, dude, he references whoever he wants, and the Angels don't mind that because he's Shohei Ohtani. Maybe he doesn't get that with the Dodgers or the Yankees because they have their own process. Like, you remember when Larry Rothschild ruined Sonny Gray's time in Yankee Stadium because he made Sonny throw a zillion sliders even though he doesn't have a great slider?
Yeah.
So there's organizational structures that will allow it and certain ones that won't.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like even going back to the Angels, I hate to say it, it's still a possibility in my heart. I really feel that way because it seems like he's so set in his ways and he likes being the way that he is, that what if he doesn't have that opportunity elsewhere?
So my question, right? Let's say you have the Angels, and all the perks that come with staying on the Angels really have nothing to do with the ball club, right?
Yes, you get the market in terms of like West Coast and the Japanese market. I assume there's a lot of, that whenever I go to an Angels game, there's so many foreign fans there. Yeah. And I feel like that is a big part of it.
No, and I agree. So we're agreeing though that if he stayed on the Angels, all of the benefits and the perks would basically be from being in LA, not from being on the specific Angels.
Oh, yes, right.
So why, if you're staying in LA, would you not go to the better team if you care about winning?
That's a fair point. That I would go to LA.
Yeah, that's the point I make to everybody that predicts him going to the Angels. It's like, why would that happen? He has the opportunity, and he's come out and said he prioritizes winning. Mm-hmm. Why, if he wanted to stay and not change everything, why would he not go to the better team? It just seems so clear cut, man.
What if he's not built like that? What if he wants to go to a team that is not like up and coming? What if he wants to be that guy, the savior?
Then he would be going to the Giants, I feel.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the only way.
Yeah, we just don't know anything about Shohei Ohtani. Like, I hate saying that. I wish he was a more like, when he's on the diamond, he is the most entertaining player I've ever seen. But off the field, once baseball's over, you don't hear from Shohei Ohtani, and almost same for Mike Trout. So, like, the two best players. What?
Do you think people in Japan know more about him?
Oh yeah,
they have to, right?
Yeah, because Ben Verlander did a special on, I think it was called like Finding Shohei or something like that. Dude, his Twitter feed sometimes, or his comments on YouTube, are straight up sometimes there's only Japanese commenters.
Really?
Yeah, I swear to God. If you go to any Ben Verlander tweet, it's just full of Japanese fans. Like, he's done a great job at integrating those fans into his own audience, and they are ride or die. Like, Ohtani
That's pretty cool.
is essentially Jesus Christ in Japan. Because he's also an attractive man. Like, objectively, he's a good-looking dude.
Dude, he's winning. He is winning in life.
He absolutely is.
Like, so crazy, man. And, at the end of the day, if he went to the Dodgers, he's still going to be my favorite player, dude, because he's the most respectful dude. He's a sweetheart. He's amazing. And you know what? It'd be kind of cool because I would get to go to the games and watch him play more often than I would get to watch a lot of players play. You know, he's a division rival. It would be super cool. But, man, obviously it would suck if it was on the Dodgers. I mean, we have to get tortured by Mookie Betts for a decade. We got tortured by Kershaw forever. Corey Seager, all these guys, man, and it's just like, when does it stop? When is it our turn? And I don't get me wrong, I know we had 3 rings, but even during that time, we're getting tortured by the Dodgers. Like, it's just so old. You have a team with the Dodgers that they don't need Shohei. They're never gonna be bad.
That's the thing. They're getting Gavin Lux and Walker Buehler back. I know they were on the team already, but they're essentially 2 like fake signings because they weren't on the team last year. They won 90 plus games, I know they got embarrassed in the playoffs, but they're getting back Gavin Lux and Walker Buehler. If you're telling me that the Dodgers get both of those guys back, they don't have room anymore in the outfield for, like, they want Mookie Betts at second base. You get Buehler back in that lineup, and then you can have Ohtani in that lineup with 2 MVPs and Betts and Freeman, a Rookie of the Year in Outman, one of the best catchers in baseball, Will Smith. Like,
it's crazy.
They would be my favorites to win the World Series just with Ohtani going there.
You think about how much time they lost. They didn't have Trevor Bauer all of last year. They lose Urias, multiple times to injury and what he did. Gonsolin was injured. Kershaw was injured. Dustin May, Walker Buehler, all of these guys. It's just like, you were still phenomenal without them.
That's the thing. They're so good at scouting is what they're – and I don't know if the Giants' scouting department is what it used to be. Like, I used to think that the Giants – you guys could create nothing out of – or something out of nothing, it seemed like. There was always up-and-coming stars on the Giants. Lincecum, Posey, kind of just you knew that they were going to be studs. But a lot of these guys that I've talked to you about, like Elliot Ramos, I don't know about Luis Matos. What's his name? Marco Luciano. I don't know if he's going to be good because he's kind of stunk.
Well, this year is where we're going to find out a lot about Ramos and Luciano. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But, yeah, I mean, you look at Joey Bart, dude. He is just...
Oh, man.
And thank God for Patrick Bailey, right? Because
he's a stud.
But Joey Bart, it's like... are you even good enough to be playing AAA ball? Like,
right?
I'm not trying to be funny, like, or mean, but that's what it comes down to, man. Like, sometimes you got to be a little rude because it's like, God, we're investing so much time and so much future into you, and you really just couldn't do it, And at a certain point, you got to stop feeling bad and just understand, like, you're not the guy, and that's just it. If anybody else is bad at their job, they get fired in real life, right? So can't really feel bad for people that can't get a job in baseball if they don't do their job how it needs to be done.
That's why I hate when players follow me sometimes, because if they ever do something wrong, I'm like, fuck, wow, I gotta talk crap about Miles Straw even though he wants to play Fortnite with me. Like, I hate doing that, but sometimes you just have to let the fan inside of you be a fan. You can't worry about stepping on toes.
Yeah, I had a situation like that pretty recently where it's just like, you want to make a comment, but you just can't,
Bro, I felt like that today with Gavin Lux. He followed me back. I'm like, this kind of sucks because now I can't. He followed me back months ago, but now that I'm tweeting about Dave Roberts and how kind of stupid he was and airheaded this moment is, I'm like, I wonder if Gavin Lux is going to see this. Or whenever I don't have Miles Straw on my 2024 projected opening day roster, I'm like, I wonder if he's going to see this.
Bro, I mean, you seen how much shit I was talking about the Eagles this weekend after the Niners smacked him, right?
Darius Slay, right?
Yeah, dog, Darius, my boy Slay is probably just like, fuck this kid, dude, because I'm just like making fun of their entire team. And I mean, he was on the field sweating, making tackles, trying to win that game, and you just got me on Twitter like, these Eagles suck. So it's like it's definitely awkward, man, and it does kind of suck because you're like, damn, I wanna be me. I wanna say what I would normally say, but you got homies, and all of a sudden you start getting a little bit more,
timid.
A little bit nicer and kinder. They're like, what's going on, Kyle? Why aren't you talking about, if Giolito had a bad game or something? It's like, Kyle's not talking shit about that, But the thing that I love about Gio is like, and you know what? I can't even say just about Gio because I'm assuming everybody is like this. But, I mean, not everybody, but most athletes, you realize that they're all human once you actually meet them in person and shit. It's like they think how we all think. And the thing about Gio is every time he's ever kind of gone through a struggle and stuff, there's nobody more aware than him, right? So it's like, it's not like these guys are naive and they're like, no, I'm doing fine, man, while all the fans are mad. They're more mad at themselves than the actual fans are, And it does affect them. So it's like, it's easier to be more kind when it's your homie because you actually realize, and it puts it in perspective, like, just like if they're your real life friend and something went wrong, you're not gonna kick them while they're down.
Yeah, like what I texted you yesterday, like, is Brandon McManus an idiot? Like, he just missed a field goal. Like, I don't want to.
Oh my!
But if you follow me,
dude,
I'm probably not saying anything like that.
Yeah, that game broke my. My God.
I usually don't bet, but I did Trevor Lawrence 2 touchdowns and the Jaguars to win. So I got my 2 touchdowns and then they lost in like the worst fashion possible. But
dude, Yeah.
It's
let's not even get into that.
Yeah, let's not talk about anything that has to do with betting. But I think we've covered most of what I wanted to. The last things I do want to talk about real quick is like, basically, we can all kind of admit that aside from Shohei and Yamamoto, and if Soto is going to get traded, but Soto doesn't count because he's not a free agent. It's kind of a weaker free agent class. So for me, if it's not Ohtani or Bellinger, a lot of people are high on Matt Chapman. I'm not a big Matt Chapman fan. Like
so inconsistent.
The inconsistency is wild depending on the month that it is, and he declined his $20.3 million qualifying offer, which is smart, but I do not want to pay Matt Chapman more than $20 million. But a guy like Blake Snell, I would break the bank. I love Blake Snell. I know he walks a lot of guys. Jordan Montgomery. It's kind of this year's free agency pool is kind of dominated by starting pitchers. Erod, Marcus Stroman. I know Gio's not been very good lately, but in the past he's been very good. James Paxton had a decent little bounce back season. There's also random power guys like Rhys Hoskins, Jorge Soler, Jeimer Candelario. I love Mitch Garver. So there are some pieces that are fun, but in terms of like the biggest guys left after Ohtani and Bellinger, I think that Blake Snell would be a great fit with the Diamondbacks. Just in terms of pure fit, would be a fun pick. Maybe him in Seattle because I think he's from Seattle. Maybe Jordan Montgomery. A fun storyline could be he's going back to the Yankees because once upon a time they said, he's not playoff material when he ended up being one of the best pitchers in the playoffs. Erod, where does he go after he shafted the Tigers? Because they traded him. They traded him to the Dodgers. He said, no, I want to stay here. And then he bounced 3 months later. So of all the guys that I just mentioned right now, give me a random kind of off-the-cuff, probably not going to happen, but you think it could, maybe a Blake Snell to Arizona because of need. Like, give me a good need pick. Maybe
Jordan Montgomery to the Orioles.
That's perfect. That's actually like, I could not have thought of a better example.
That's who I could see them getting him. I think they could use him. What do they have? One lefty in their rotation?
They have John Means and then
and then
who's the other guy? Let me see.
They have Dean Kramer, John Means. They got I think it's just one lefty. I mean, not that it truly matters. Don't get me wrong, but
I know DL Hall is supposed to be like decent, but they had there was Tyler Wells before he got
Tyler
injured.
Wells had a great year.
Tyler Wells, I think he's
was having a good year.
And then so they would have
Tyler Wells is a righty, isn't he?
Oh, is he a righty? Maybe I'm
pretty sure.
So they would have Jordan Montgomery, Kyle Bradish, Grayson Rodriguez. Like, that is a pretty decent rotation. And then John Means would be back in there as well. So that is a good depth pick. I like that one.
Yeah, no, I really like Jordan Montgomery. I would be sad to see him go back to the Yankees just because, if it once a team shows they don't appreciate you don't go back there once you figure your stuff out. Come on. You gotta go to their division rival and shit on them a little bit.
What about Jorge Soler? To me, I think he goes back to Miami, but he's a perfect fit. But do you see any team, like if we talk about the teams that had the worst production for DH, there's the Tigers. Maybe the Tigers are up and coming. There's the Mets. The Mets, surprisingly, with Vogelback and Mark Vientos, maybe they could give Jorge Soler a ton of money. Like, he would fit in perfectly with Alonso and the other guys. The Reds kind of lacked some true depth because, unfortunately, Tyler Stevenson kind of took a step back. But I like Christian Encarnacion Strand. What about Soler? Do you think that there's a right fit or a good fit, or do you think he goes back to the Marlins?
I do think Jorge Soler would be very interesting at just playing at Great American Ballpark. I do think that would be cool.
Okay.
But I don't know. Jorge Soler is one of those guys. What do you think he'll sign for?
That's actually
when he does get signed.
There's a couple questions I have. What is Jorge Soler going to sign for? And also, Adolis Garcia, he's going to go through arbitration. What is he going to get? Because we can't really compare anyone to Adolis Garcia, who at 31-32 has his best season, wins World Series MVP. He's going to want a ton of money, but you can't pay a 32-year-old $25 million in arbitration. So the same thing with Jorge Soler. I mean, the example could be Nelson Cruz. Maybe you don't go more than 18 to 20. I think that Soler might get 22 and a half from a team like Arizona. I feel like Arizona could be a great fit just as a DH because it's in both leagues.
What about
now.
the Astros?
Ooh, the Astros would be fun because who was their DH last year? Let's see. I think the Astros, I'm pretty sure it's Yordan.
I think Michael Brantley actually DH'd more than Yordan.
Oh, it was the top two were Yordan and Yainer Diaz, but Yainer's going to be the full catcher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Maldonado is just
he's donezo.
He's done?
Yeah, he's a free agent this year. So
Yeah.
they just decided that we're going to go with Diaz full time.
Okay. No, and Diaz is nasty. Okay. Yeah, I guess Brantley was injured a lot of the time, but I
He's a
know in
free
the
agent now,
postseason,
too.
I think was that?
Yeah, Brantley's a free agent, so he's probably not going to come back.
Okay. Yeah, I mean Soler and
That would
at the
actually be
on
nasty.
the Astros. Yeah, Soler's one of those guys that there's so many teams that I feel like he could go to. It's hard to really predict one. You know, I could see him being a DH on the Blue Jays. I could see him there. I feel like there's multiple teams that he could go to. He'll probably just go back to the Marlins though.
You think so? I feel like he just the vibe of Jorge Soler fits perfect with that team.
Yeah, and man, that team is so random sometimes, dude.
The Marlins?
And they've always had such a random team. You have like John Birdie and all these guys, and they just find success somehow, you know, in some of these years with Sandy. Like seeing them beat the Cubs in that
that was wild.
And that was so random, man.
Wasn't there like Corey Dickerson decided to have a good year out of nowhere after kind of sucking?
Yeah, they had Corey Dickerson. It was John Birdie. They had I'm trying to think what their like main pieces of their lineup was.
I know it was led by the rotation, but I'm pretty sure they had
for sure.
Who was their outfield? I think Jesus Sanchez had a decent little Brian De La Cruz. I don't remember. I'm kind of just spitballing right now.
Yeah,
but
no,
I do remember that team.
But they didn't have any of, you know, it's like once they lost all of their guys, Giancarlo, Marcell Ozuna, Yelich, all of a sudden they just have this spunky little team. It's just so funny, like watching John Birdie lead off and you're looking at this team, and it reminded me kind of like the 2010 Giants once they beat the Cubs. Once the Marlins beat the Cubs, it was like, could they go on a little run? You know, this team that's just unpredictable, but Soler was just going crazy for them. And I think he felt comfortable there. I think he liked it there. So I could see Soler just going back there, but it would be cool to see him just smashing home runs in the playoffs again, like he was. That home run that he hit against the fucking Astros in that park was so electric.
What about Jamir? Jamir is an interesting one because he was very, very good last year. A lot of people don't realize how good he was. If we talk about some teams, like even Mitch Garver, there's some team like Jamir Candelario, Mitch Garver, Rhys Hoskins. There's some decent little power bats. I mean, I guess you can call Matt Chapman a little power bat. Do you have?
Yeah, I think Garver's going back to the Rangers. I seen a comment where somebody was saying we're gonna miss you, and he was like, "Who said I'm leaving?" You know, like.
Oh, really?
I think I think Mitch Garver. I would put my chips on Mitch Garver going back to the Rangers.
Okay.
It was on Instagram. There was a dedicated post. I was like, "Oh, we're gonna miss you, Mitch Garver," and he was just like, "Who said I'm leaving?" You know, so it's kind of like a Jordan Belfort type vibe.
My sneaky pick for him would be the Brewers.
The Brewers, that would be cool.
Because I just think that ballpark would suit his swing so well. Either the Brewers or the Cubs, I think, would really fit Mitch Garver, or maybe Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah. When it comes to, is it Jamer or is it Heimer?
I think it's Jamer, but he is not from here, so I could be wrong.
Yeah. Feel free to correct us in the comments if we're saying it wrong. Sorry, guys, but yeah, I think it might be Heimer because when I did a debut with his finest card one time, and I was just annoyingly screaming Heimer every time I hit a home run with him.
Okay.
And he commented on it like laughing.
Oh, really?
So I'm thinking like maybe I was pronouncing it somewhat right, or maybe it was just so wrong that he thought it was funny. But
on Baseball Reference it says capital Jay, so J and then little case Mer. So I think it's Jamer.
Okay.
But then again, they have Luis Robert saying Luis Robert, and his actual pronunciation on the White Sox website
right?
is Rober. Yeah.
Okay.
It says Luis
we'll just
Robert.
say Candelario. Yeah. Dude, man, Candelario. When he got traded to the Cubs. I can believe it because he's a great hitter, but he went like berserk.
He did at first, and then it kind of caught up to him a little bit. Like he was hitting over 300 for a while, and then it kind of slowed down a little bit. But that was after in 2022 he had an 81 OPS plus, and then he popped off for a 119 OPS plus. But I mean, people forget that from 2020 to 2021 he had a 125 OPS plus. So I feel like Jamer is a very, very sneaky kind of underrated, slick fielding third baseman free agent. And I mean, he led baseball in doubles back in 2021, and people just forget that.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to see him. The Blue Jays are losing Matt Chapman.
That would
I would
be
like
sick.
to see. I would like to see Candelario on the Blue Jays.
Okay, some other teams that have weak third basemen. Brett Beatty. I still believe in Brett Beatty, but the Mets, they had some very bad production. The Marlins would be a sick pick because they do have Jake Berger, so that's not going to work anymore. The Yankees, they tried Donaldson, they tried Peraza, and Jamir is from New York, so I feel like that could maybe work. Arizona got their pick with Suarez, so there's a couple decent little picks. And again, this year's free agency pool is not as stacked as it was, but there's some names I would avoid. Like, I'm not going to give Matt Chapman $25 million. I like Erod. I'm not going to give Erod $28 million. So I guess, is there one free agent aside from Chapman that you would avoid? Like,
aside from Chapman, let me look at my. Yeah, because I do agree with what you're saying, man. Like, Chapman, it's just not...
Like a Rhys Hoskins or a Seth Lugo, someone that had the last time that we saw them, they played pretty well. Maybe a Tim Anderson. What do you think about Tim Anderson?
I like Tim Anderson. I'm kind of with Rhys Hoskins. It would depend how much he's really in line to get. Because with Rhys Hoskins, with the injury and stuff, with... I definitely agree with you when it comes to Matt Chapman. That's the guy I would stay away from just because his price tag is a little bit high for how inconsistent he can be. And you just never know. When you put him in a spot where the field just doesn't really favor him or something like that, you could just get a down year. You really could. But his fielding's so amazing that you really kind of have to take that into consideration as well. I would maybe... You got a guy like Eduardo Rodriguez who had such a crazy good year that it almost seemed like I want to know what led to that good year, right? Is it repeatable? Is it just a one-off like a Brandon Crawford's year, because Eduardo Rodriguez, he wasn't doing that on the Red Sox towards the end.
He was decent, and the funny part about Eduardo Rodriguez is after he declined that trade, so he declined it I think on August 1st. From August 2nd to the end of the season, he had a almost 4 ERA and an almost 4.4 FIP. Like, he got shelled pretty much after declining that trade. So he kind of cost himself some money. I wouldn't give Matt Chapman more than 22. I wouldn't give Erod more than 21. Like, I understand they rejected the qualifying offer of $20.8 million, but they're not worth much more than that, in my opinion. Like, the qualifying offer is a lot this year.
Well...
It's 20.3.
So real quick, what kind of teams do you see signing Eduardo Rodriguez?
So what you said about kind of players waiting for dominoes to fall, I can't really answer that question unless I know where Shohei's going, if that makes sense.
No, and because you think he could go to a lot of teams that could potentially be signing Shohei, right?
Yeah, I think that Erod could be a perfect fit for the Dodgers. One, because they've already tried to trade for the guy. Like, they've clearly shown interest in him. I mean, even a guy like Matt Chapman, I thought that maybe he was going to be a perfect fit for the Diamondbacks, but then the Diamondbacks go and get Suarez. So maybe the Mariners, Suarez. Like, everything is changing on a dime. Like, a week ago, I might have said the Diamondbacks for Matt Chapman, but now I might say the Mariners for Matt Chapman. So it kind of it's so hard with how long they're taking, and then in the shadows, there's deals being done, and then they come out at a random. So I can't really give any, I know this video is kind of dedicated to making predictions, but I can't really do that because it's been such a slow offseason. And a lot of people are saying, well, what do you expect, Fuzz? The free agency pool is not that heavy. Like, I get that. But the World Series ended over a month ago, Kyle. Can we get some action, please, so I can make some predictions?
Anything. There's just no reason that, Aaron Nola might be the biggest free agent that's signed so far, and he just goes back to the Phillies, right?
Yeah, that was boring.
And I genuinely thought that Aaron, if we were having this video, a month ago, I would say that I thought Aaron Nola was going to go to the Cardinals. So it's just kind of like, man, when a team re-signs with their team, it is boring, right? If all of the Shohei hype was for him to go back to the Angels, it would be like, it would be pretty brutal, right?
Well,
so
he would get the Mike Trout treatment of that dude doesn't care about winning. So I don't think he would put himself through that ever again.
Yeah,
talking about Ohtani.
I don't know, man, but there are a couple guys that interest me that I just have no clue where they're gonna go. Teoscar Hernandez is one of them.
I forgot about Teoscar. Him and Lourdes had some pretty solid seasons over the last few years, and they do rake. It's just, can their defense keep up? Because Teoscar, he actually improved his defense. Same with Lourdes. Can you repeat that? Once upon a time, Corey Dickerson, terrible at defense, popped off for a Gold Glove, and then he went back to being terrible. So it's just a lot of one-year wonders about, can Jock Peterson I don't remember if Jock Peterson's a free agent this year, but can Tim Anderson bounce back? He is a free agent, Jock Peterson.
Jock is a free agent?
Yeah. Is Mike
I think he
Clevenger,
signed 2 one-year deals with us.
Yeah, right. Is Gary Sanchez going to keep up with the power? Is a guy like Kevin Kiermaier at 34, 35 years old, can he repeat his success that he found last year with the Blue Jays? So there's so many question marks. I feel like if I had to pinpoint players that I think are for sure going to be good going forward, I'd give all my money to Shohei. I'd give all my money to Blake Snell. I'd give all my money to Jordan Montgomery. From there, I have some question marks. I'm not going to lie. I love Jorge Soler. I don't know if the strikeout issue is going to get worse. Kershaw, I don't know about his health. Hungjin Ryu, same thing. He got hit in the leg. What is that ended Corey Kluber's kind of career, a comebacker. So Mitch Garver, he's kind of up and down, up and down. Frankie Montas, is his shoulder all right? Is Tim Anderson going to be the worst power hitter in the history of baseball all over again? So so many question marks. Is Michael Brantley going to be healthy? Is Mike Clevenger going to be, not Mike Clevenger? All the things that have been said about him. There's just so many question marks.
There's been
what is going on?
Yeah, that's an interesting one I want to talk about. Tim Anderson, right? Mm-hmm. There are certain teams that he could be really beneficial for.
Yeah.
In who do you think is going to sign Tim Anderson?
Okay, so let's do this. So for the most part, I think he's done being a shortstop. So if we go and filter by the teams that had the worst second base production, you have the Nationals, which are an up-and-coming team. Maybe they could use a leader. I know people say things about Tim Anderson, but I think genuinely he is a good guy. The Boston Red Sox have a need.
Trevor Story, right?
Trevor Story is going to be playing shortstop. He's going back to shortstop.
He is?
Yeah, I think it's already been confirmed, and that Cedane Rafaela is probably going to be playing the outfield, so that's why Verdugo might be on the move. I think that Boston could be a good fit just because they're an up-and-coming team. They have money to spend. I don't think that Tim Anderson's going to fight Trevor Story. I think that Jonathan Scope is officially off the books for the Tigers. Maybe Tim Anderson stays in the division, goes to the Tigers. Maybe the Mariners because, they can't find anyone between Wong and Caballero was decent and, Dylan Moore is not very good. So maybe the Giants. Yeah. Maybe the Giants. I don't know.
The Giants don't need another just contact guy that can't hit bombs.
The Giants were 21st out of 30 in terms of second base production. And in terms of shortstop, they were second to last, 29th. So either way, Tim Anderson to San Francisco could make sense.
Yeah, it couldn't hurt, right? But man, the way our team is, we need runs. We don't get runs. You know what I mean? And I don't know how much Tim Anderson is really going to help that. Even at a leadoff spot where he's super productive, who's driving him in? If we don't get a guy that could do that, Tim Anderson's only going to be helpful for a team if they have that power already there, or they're using him to build a team where they can add somebody in to help clean it up, right? Unless they have such a stacked lineup like, a team like the Braves where he can bat kind of towards the bottom of the order and be a huge help for that. But for the Giants, he would end up being he would technically be one of the best hitters on our team because we're so depleted. And it's like, man, God, we are in such a bad spot. God damn it, man. I'm just thinking about all these guys and every single free agent. We're talking about how boring of a free agent, how boring of a free agent class it is. But in reality, the Giants are so unexciting that you can pretty much add any of these guys on our team and they would suddenly be our most exciting player. It's truly a bad spot to be in when you're talking about adding a guy like Tim Anderson and you're saying he could be our best player, but it's just like it just would not be enough. Cody Bellinger would be our best player, and it's just a team that has as much money as we do. That's kind of unacceptable. In my opinion, we just got to do more. So either sign a lot of these guys or I don't know, sell the team. Put the team in Oakland.
Yeah, right.
No, but yeah, Tim Anderson. I'm trying to think of a team that I think he would be good to go to.
There's quite a few teams as long as you have the shortstop.
There really is, but a team that preferably would have some power already. Like ideally, a functional White Sox team a couple years ago was a perfect fit for Tim Anderson. Mm-hmm. When you have Yoan, you have Eloy, you have Jose Abreu, you have these guys that they just. It's crazy how that team ended up, man.
He could end up with the Dodgers. Honestly, he could end up with the Dodgers.
That's a good Well, with Gavin,
Well, the thing is,
it would be a good. That's a team though, right? You have guys that would be able to drive him in. That's a lineup that would be just consistent with a guy like Tim Anderson on it.
I think that you could convince the GM. I think his name is Andrew Friedman, that, hey, I know that Mookie Betts is supposed to be the everyday second baseman, but Jason Hayward stinks against lefties. So if you're telling me I can move Mookie Betts back to the outfield and have Tim Anderson face lefties, I'm doing that every single time. Tim Anderson rakes lefties.
Yeah, and I was always curious about that Mookie move because would you waste Mookie's arm at second base?
Oh, yeah, for sure. If the guy in right field is Jason Hayward. There's
I
very select players I would have Mookie Betts kind of take one for the team, and Jason Hayward, as well as James Outman. Those are two guys I would absolutely say, Mookie, can you do us a solid so we don't have to spend $20 million on whoever at second base? Can you just play second base? Because also they would prefer height in the outfield.
Okay, and who's in left field for the Dodgers currently?
Left field for isn't it? It's not, obviously it's not Gallo anymore. I think it was David Peralta and Chris Taylor kind of like.
Okay, platooning. Because I was thinking about Chris Taylor, but Chris Taylor, they just have to play everywhere they need him to be.
Yeah, David
and then
Peralta
same with Max Muncy.
Yep.
Okay. No, yeah, I mean, Tim Anderson would not be a bad spot then. How's Gavin Lux's production been against lefties before he got hurt?
That's actually a great question because I should have done that research, and Gavin Lux for his career, I think he hits like 210 or something like that against lefties, which is not the best. So maybe you'd go with the Gavin Lux platoon just for his first season back. He hits 214 for his career, 214 with a 587 OPS, which is god awful.
Yeah.
So it could work.
Yeah, no, it definitely could work. Man, I'm curious where guys like you mentioned Seth Lugo, you got Stroman, you have Gio, where some of these guys are going to end up,
I think at this point we could probably like guesstimate for the rest of the video, but I think we'll go ahead and probably wrap it up right there, and then you guys have to let us know. There's a lot of free agents. Give me your one. We want 2 comments. Give me your random. Who do you think? How should I say this? Give me your best fit. Maybe Cody Bellinger is a best fit with blah, blah, blah. Who do you think? Give me one free agent and their best fit. I don't care about money. I don't care about if the team is good or not. Just based off need, give me like a solid free agent with the best fit. And then also give me a random you think is going to happen. Maybe you think that Bellinger is going to go to the Guardians. So give me a best fit and then give me a random one that you think is going to happen but no one's talking about. So I think at that point, we've basically covered everything.
Yeah, no, we have. I mean, we definitely did. And, when it comes to the predictions, it's really hard to do, because there's so many teams that are in need of so many of these guys. It's not the most exciting free agent class, but it is a helpful free agent class. You got a lot of guys that I've noticed that there's a lot of guys that could help offensively and defensively, and there's a lot of good pitchers that can eat some innings. And I don't know, man, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with all of these teams.
This is very much a get your team over the hump year. I think that good teams are going to get better. I don't think that bad teams are going to get better. I think that they're very much like there's no, aside from Shohei or if Blake Snell can keep it up, there's no true like game changer because I hope Cody Bellinger repeats what he does, but a lot of these guys are really good. They get you over the hump, but if you go to a bad team, it's not going to make that bad team a whole lot better. If that, like, I don't know how I'm probably sound disrespectful, but that's just how I feel about this year.
No, the truth is Shohei's the only guy in this free agent class that could truly impact a team that much. And the truth of the matter is he's just not going to a bad team. So it's not even worth discussing.
Yeah, because if you think about the past years, Harper, to me, he's a difference maker. Mike Trout, Judge, Ohtani, these are faces of the franchise, league-altering players. And this year, aside from Ohtani, and we kind of know where he's going, that's the sucky part. But I had fun.
I pray we don't know. I pray we don't know where he's going.
No, I hope that it stays a secret and that Dave Roberts shuts his stupid mouth.
No, I hope he keeps it open.
Yeah, right.
I hope he keeps it open. Man, I would do anything. I would do anything for him to be a Giant. It would just be.
What's the worst thing you would do for Shohei Ohtani? Would you kick a baby, a newborn baby, for Shohei Ohtani?
Brother, and you don't want to even know what would happen.
It would be front page news though. Like it's not just a random baby and you run away. Would you kick a baby for Shohei Ohtani?
Okay. It's I understand that it's front page news and everything like that. Would would I lose like my career and get canceled over it? Like, is that a possibility, or is it just people would look at me kind of in disgust?
I think it'd be the latter. I think they would probably look at you with disgust.
But my career is still guaranteed.
Yes.
Like, I'm still able to do what I do. I'm booting the fuck out of that baby, dude. Like people look at me and I would just say, "Oh, you're offended? Sorry, does your team have Shohei?
Okay.
Oh, you don't?
Hey,
then shut up."
it.
It's nah, but man, it would just be so like I truly, and this is why I hate talking about this, man, because I think about how happy I would be, and that's what leads to me being sad, like how I was with Aaron Judge. Because with Aaron Judge, I fully had my hopes up and felt that we had him, and I felt we were getting him, and that was just the worst thing ever, to be honest with you. Even the video where he's in San Francisco saying, "Oh, that was so annoying."
Stop it, man. Stop it. Don't go there. That's a dark time,
yeah,
okay?
Yeah, but like if Shohei came out and if I saw Shohei in San Francisco having fun on videos, like saying, "Yeah, I'm here, like, visiting family.
Right.
We got something cool planned," and he didn't sign, I would move to Sri Lanka. I'm just not even going to be I'm just trying to think of how I'm going to remain a Giants fan when Shohei goes to the Dodgers and we don't get anybody. I'm just trying to think of how I even resume this.
You will. This is one of those years you have to get it done. You're going to get someone big.
So do you give me permission if we don't get somebody big that I could just say I'm done with the Giants? Because it would be completely unacceptable, right?
I mean, you guys have 3 World Series in your lifetime.
It doesn't matter.
I don't have any. I understand the standards are different when you win that much, but I would probably say I would trust in Fahidi, whatever his name is, and I'd probably give him 1 more year because you do have some decent prospects. Like if Marco's him, he's supposed to be super good. Like if he pops off, he could enter the face of the franchise level. So if he pops off, it'll be fine if you grab a Seth Lugo and maybe you bring back Sean Manaea and that's it. But it's all dependent on Marco Luciano if you do not get Ohtani.
Buzz, it is not about the 3 rings in the last decade. It's not about that, because if you have that available money and you have a lackluster team and you're not doing anything about it, you should be punished. It's unacceptable. I understand what you're saying. If you're a team that doesn't have money and you're rebuilding and things aren't going well and they don't sign anybody, you got to be patient. We've done the rebuild. We've been rebuilding. Now the money is off the books. We have the money. You have the guys. Go get them. Like the 3 rings just doesn't matter because are we just gonna do nothing forever now and say, hey, remember back 100 years ago in 2000? And it's like, dude, that happened. Why do we not want more? Do we not want more? Can we have more?
Well, I will say you guys are 13th in payroll right now at $134 million. I don't remember a time where the Giants just did not almost full send and they were top 10 at least. So you can squeeze in a lot and still be under the luxury tax. So I hope that you get someone for at least your sake, because I don't want you to give up on the dear old Giants, especially after everything they've given you.
Yeah, but I had to watch us trot out Jeff Samardzija and Johnny Cueto and Brandon Belton Crawford and all these guys we were paying a ton of money just for us to get absolutely dog walked. And I was just thinking, hey, in a couple of years, they're going to be off the books and we're going to sign somebody big. Now is that time. Do it. That's all I got to tell the Giants, man. Do it.
You wouldn't last 3 seconds as a Guardians fan.
I would not. I would not. I definitely wouldn't. But I wouldn't last 1 second at it as an A's fan. And let me end this on this note. Everybody likes to make fun of bandwagoners, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody likes to make fun of people that ditch their team. Can we all, as a community, give A's fans a free pass to choose another team for the rest of their life? Just let them choose. Let them be fans of whatever team they want. Let them ditch the A's. The A's don't deserve fans. Have a free pass. You could be a Giants fan. You could be an Astros fan. Just go choose and have... Astros would be pretty bad. That's your guys' division rival. Yeah. But you have a free pass. You can go choose somebody because you guys got done wrong. You guys got done real wrong. And now you're not even getting the number 1 pick.
Yeah, that's just the salt in the wound right there. But they do have the Oakland Ballers now, the Oakland Bees.
Yeah. Oh, and then once you get that player, and once you draft that number 4 player and he's going to be the best player in the league, you're going to trade him anyways.
Probably.
So, just go ahead and root for the Mets or something, man.
Dude, I saw the funniest meme about, like, we get the first pick, the Guardians, and then it turns into sadness because they realize they have to pay someone. Like, that's not going to be a cheap pick, and he's probably going to be worth more than all of the free agents that Cleveland has signed over the last few years combined. But I mean,
when was the last time? I was wanting to ask you this earlier because I was really trying to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time the Rays truly signed like a big free agent?
Zach Eflin was their biggest one. So if that answers the question,
that's crazy. That's
Eflin.
Crazy.
That's why they're not going to keep Randy or Izak or Glasnow. They have to trade them because they just don't spend money.
That is.
But
and they continue to be so good.
Yeah, they scout and use sorcery and whatever else witchcraft that they do to scout players and steal players from other teams. So, I mean, it is what it is. But speaking on the A's thing, because they are coming to Las Vegas, I'm happy that I get to vlog games, but I'm devastated that it came at the expense of another fan base. I wish that it would have been an expansion team, that Vegas got a brand new club. But, I feel bad. I'm getting a lot of mixed opinions, like, the people who don't live in Oakland, who don't have like an affinity to Oakland, people who visit Oakland have a very different non-biased perspective on the city of Oakland and the surrounding areas. So I don't know, maybe it's the vocal minority and the A's fans that are the loudest, but a lot of people are saying, hey, you guys had your chance. I hate that it happened. And again, I wish it was an expansion team. The stadium did not help. John Fisher did not help, but also at the same time, like, we can't ignore the attendance and the fact that they just did not go to baseball games there.
My question about the expansion teams, because I was never really fully aware how this works. Mm-hmm. When there's an expansion team, how do they fill the rosters?
So the Golden Knights were not a team that moved from city to city. So when Vegas got the Golden Knights, basically what happened is there was a draft and you could take players from other teams.
What?
I'm almost positive that's how it happened. That's like our goalie at the time, Fleury. He was, I think, like the best goalie in the world, and then he was our first overall pick. And he became our face of the franchise. So I'm pretty sure.
How the hell do you draft somebody off somebody else's?
That's what I'm saying. The owners come together, and for the sake of having a new team, which means more revenue because you have revenue sharing, we're gonna go ahead and divvy up these players, and there's a brand new team. Like, you can't just form a team out of nothing. So where do they come from?
Yeah,
other teams.
That's crazy.
Yep. That's why the expansion thing has taken so long, because I think players and if you sign a 13-year contract and all of a sudden you move across the country because there's an expansion team in Nashville, you're probably not happy.
Dude, I wish Vegas was an expansion team, and then the Dodgers signed Shohei for $900 million and then got him taken.
Yeah, that would be so sick. Just imagine that.
Yeah, that'd be nice. It'd be pretty cool. So, okay, are you going to be you're still going to be a Guardians fan?
Always,
though? You're not gonna root for the...
Until my two teams are the Guardians and the Phillies, I feel like I'm allowed to be a Phillies fan just because of Bryson and Bryce. Two Vegas kids. But yeah, the Las Vegas A's, I will attend their games and I will vlog and take advantage of it, but I will not be an A's fan over a Guardians fan.
Gotcha. Okay. I love it.
All right, man.
Well, I'm going to be an A's fan once we don't get anybody. So
No. You guys are going to get put this in writing. Cody Bellinger is going to sign a 7-year, what's 220 divided by 7? Okay, not that. And actually, no, he's gonna get.
What did that end up being?
$31 million. He's not gonna get that.
He's gonna get 25.
He's gonna get 220 divided by 7. If I just asked that question, what am I? 220 divided by 8. He's gonna get 27.5 for the next 8 years from the Giants. So that's 220 over 8 years to the Giants. I can almost guarantee it.
I'm just so depressed as a Giants fan that I wouldn't even be satisfied with it, though. I just want Shohei so bad.
I know you do. It's not going to happen, though.
Okay. I'll take Bellinger going to my team and Ohtani going back to the Angels. Then I would be satisfied.
Why?
If we just get Belly, because I don't want him to be on the Dodgers.
You don't want your favorite player to be happy? That's pretty selfish of you.
Look.
Dude,
if he went back to the Angels and chose to be on the Angels, clearly he's happy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I
Sounds-
want him to be happy, just not on the Dodgers.
Just any team.
All right.
But the
Go
one
to,
team that has the best chance at signing him.
yeah. Go. All right. Go to the Blue Jays.
All right, fine.
Go to the Blue Jays. Go to the Blue Jays.
Just come to
But-
Cleveland. We will accept you, Shohei. We'll give you
Yeah.
not as much money, but you know what? We are loving people, and we won't expect too much success. So even if you regress, we'll still love you. But
That would be the funniest thing. What if he just went to the Twins? It was just,
that would be
Oh my
that
God.
would make my day because the Twins are getting worse and worse. So if they put Ohtani in there and then
Yeah.
they traded, face of the franchise like Joey Gallo, even though he's a free agent. We didn't even talk about Joey, and he's a free agent this year. That kind of sucks. But that's all I got for today. What do you got?
dude. Did we talk about all three things that we said we were going to talk about?
Absolutely.
We did, right?
Yep. Free agents. We talked about Dave Roberts. We talked about the draft lottery, everything and more. We're overachievers.
I guess we're good. I mean, we said it was going to be a 30-minute
I
podcast,
know,
so
I know.
naturally we went to an hour and a half. But that's just what happens, man. We like talking.
We get to talk.
But yeah, like Fuzzy said, make sure you guys leave that comment. Let us know your free agent predictions. Let us know where you think Shohei is going to go as well, because I want to see how unanimous it is that everybody thinks the Dodgers. Hopefully, I hope you guys, whatever team you guys are fans of, I hope you guys all get a nice signing to help your viewing pleasure for this year. Let's all just have a fun year, and then we'll be seeing you guys in a week or so.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. If you watched all the way until the end, again, let us know in the comments. But make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff, and we'll see you in the next one.
Real ones. Peace.